Hi, everyone.
Here.
Christine just saved all of us, or at least all the people who watch YouTube. Christine just saved all of you, so you're able to watch YouTube, because I almost forgot to press record again.
Oopsie. It happens. It happens. We forgot once again to tell Eva what time we were recording. So this is, like, I don't know why we keep flying so close to the sun, like leaving it into our own hands that we're going to do this episode without Eva's, like, supervision.
I think because we've found out that it does work. It just also is confusing for people.
Also dangerous because we sometimes forget to record, but that's okay.
Can you imagine? Oh, hey, Eva, by the way, we did a whole episode. Also forgot to record. That's where you come in. Can you go back in time and film us, or what?
Now what?
How is your day, Christine? It's a Monday. How was your weekend?
Oh, it was lovely. Thank you for asking. The weather was great here. We just bopped around. I am having a very rough Monday, and I want to. Okay, so I feel like maybe this is karma. I don't really know, but I feel like I've been feeling really weird about the last episode when I talked about how, like, parenting is so great and everything. And I didn't want anyone to get the wrong impression that I was like, oh, this is a piece of cake. And like,
oh, I don't think anyone got that impression.
Okay. I think I don't even remember how the conversation went, but I've just been like doing that like late night, like mulling it over in my head over and over again thing.
I like to think anyone who listens to us at this point probably knows you at least relatively well to know what you meant by it.
Yeah, I hope so. And so that's what I'm hoping. But so last night I got about 3 hours and 15 minutes of sleep, and I'm like struggling. And I'm like, this is what karma, this is it. I was like, oh, parenting's great. We're having so much fun and we do so much stuff that we love. And then, oh boy, it kicked me in the ass.
I mean, I obviously don't have a child, so of course my opinion does not matter. And yet here I am inserting it anyway. But I like to think that parenting probably ebbs and flows, where there's some pretty awesome parts. And then there's other parts where, like, I don't care who you are. I'm sure you think your baby's like a little angel all the time, but sometimes I imagine parenting just fucking sucks. Like,
yeah. And
I feel like
24/7, like you can't escape it. And so I was having like obviously an especially great day that day. And I mean, don't get me wrong. It is, I think the very specific things my anxiety had terrified me about were the things that I was like, that didn't end up being the biggest problems for me. So I was just so surprised when I had the baby, and I was like, oh, okay. So like all the things I was so scared of, like Blaze and I would never speak again, or, you know, things like that never happened. So, but I didn't want it to come off like, oh, everything's easy peasy. And I will also add, like, is very dependent on the situation. Obviously, I'm very lucky. I have a partner who has several days off a week and works from home. And also I am on Zoloft for severe, I almost said paranormal anxiety, paranormal postpartum anxiety. So, you know, that helps too. Just like putting it all on the table here. Like there's a lot that goes behind my statement of, oh, I'm having a great time, including medication. So I don't want anyone to feel like, oh, wow, she's just like blah, 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 you know, floating through life without thinking of, you know, ever. Yeah.
See, I took it as, hey, because I just said like, oh, sometimes parenting's great and sometimes it fucking sucks. I took it as like, oh, hey, you're having a particularly great day. And maybe tomorrow won't be a great day, but today's a good one.
I'm glad you understood me. And don't get me wrong, today's fine. But I'm really
Have you had any
tired.
days? Have you had any days yet where you're like, this does fucking blow?
Oh yeah. Mostly when I have not slept, because sleep deprivation is its own kind of torture.
It's a real thing.
Yeah, but for today, I made myself with my fancy Nespresso machine. I put a homemade attempted latte in this oversized cup, and then I also brought 2 pieces of a giant Toblerone from the duty-free shop in Toronto. So
everything you eat on here always looks like it's garbage. Like your drink looked good, but like a little raccoon, every time you show me a snack you're eating, it's always in the most torn up, busted wax paper. It just looks like you're scraping it out.
It's like my mom would send me to school with like literal like parchment paper around, like I was living in the 1940s, and
it really does look like you're like, look what I found.
Well, I'm gonna be eating this Toblerone and drinking this double espresso, so I feel like I'm gonna be having a good time.
All right,
But
good.
before I ask you why you drink, which I will ask, but I also want to point out, yes, we did realize that Amanda covered the same case I covered last week, Teresita Basa.
Oh,
We didn't realize it until somebody,
like
I forgot,
immediately after.
were like, oh, wait, this is familiar. I felt bad. I didn't listen to all the episodes when I was gone.
That's fine.
Because,
Also,
baby.
Also, well, hey, I listened to it twice and both times equally amazed, equally surprised. So
Yeah, I was surprised. I was like, hey, I feel like you would have remembered, but no, but I guess not if I told it. I guess if it would have been a different context.
I'm telling you, people really think that I mean, and I hope it does not offend you, but the amount of information I retain from this podcast is shockingly minimal. And so you told me that story. Never, as far as I was concerned, never heard that goddamn
God,
name
if
in my
only
life.
we didn't have an audience who, well, don't take that, universe, don't take that literally. If only we didn't have an audience. That's not what I meant. What I meant was, if only we didn't have an audience, and that way we could I could just tell you the same stories every couple weeks, just recycle them, and you'd never
Honestly,
know the
it would work. And it's so wild because even like Ted Bundy, have you covered him before? Have you?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
See, like it doesn't even,
time ago.
it doesn't matter, because I don't want to say like, oh, one story is more important than the other, or one story is more memorable than the other. But I think it's just like, my brain just doesn't. I promise I'm invested as you're telling me the story. But if you like 3 months later, if you're like, oh, do you remember this story compared to others?
I'll be honest.
I'm probably not.
It's probably for the best. I don't think you want to retain all of these.
Do you retain all the stories you cover?
Not all of them. Many of them I will hear or read about like the first couple bullets, and then it'll like come back to me. Or if I'm watching a TV show, I'm like, this sounds really familiar, and I know what happens next. But I kind of wish I could erase a lot of it from my mind.
Maybe that's that's what's happening. Maybe my brain's like, you don't need this. You don't need this
It's
energy.
probably your soul saving you from the trauma of remembering this in the middle of the night.
Maybe. But then again, I'll say like my own stories that I do active several hours of research on. I don't remember like what like 2 weeks ago we did like a jail in Minnesota or something, or Missouri. Couldn't tell you what happened in it. And it's not because I don't care about the story, but I think it's just so much information churned in on a weekly basis that it just falls away.
A gas chamber, and only 3 people were killed in it. See, I remember the horrible stuff. I don't know. I wish my brain like would just delete that part, but oh well.
No, I feel like I just remember like I think because for me, hopefully for you, this just feels like I'm like on Skype with my friend, and
right. You're just like
I feel
chatting.
like I remember more the friend conversations in between everything.
Right, that too. Yeah.
I don't know. And maybe that's why I drink this week, because I feel probably a little guilty that I don't remember all the stories, but also like I am grateful that I don't know.
I think it's for the best. I think we all agree it's for the best.
We're coming up on 300 episodes. That means there's 600 stories between the two of us. Geez. I'm happy to not have a little encyclopedia in my brain of every horrible thing we've talked about.
Murders. Yeah, that's probably for the best.
Anyway, I think that's why I drink. I'm really sleepy too, but I'm never going to say that to a mom of a baby.
You can say that all you want.
I'm sleepy, but I have a feeling I'll be able to fix it before you and your sleepiness.
Yeah. I mean, maybe give me like almost 2 decades and then I'll get back to you.
Really? I like to think of it as like, wait till the kid's like 15, because stereotypically they're probably not going to want to be around you all the time anyway, right?
Honestly, stereotypically they also sleep in, and I sleep in, so I'm like, yeah, let's fucking sleep till noon.
Yeah, y'all might vibe better when they hit high school.
That. Yeah.
I was one of those kids who I don't know if it was good or bad that my mom never tried to wake me up when I would sleep in, because I clearly had sleep issues from a young age and it was never addressed. But like, because I was the high schooler who, if it were the weekend, I was sleeping until like basically sunset, and like then waking up and just partying and then doing it all over again. I know. I was like going to my piano recital. Oh no. I would stay up, until like 5 a.m. and then go to bed and wake up when everyone else was going to bed. It was super problematic, and my sleep schedule is still probably naturally like that, because anytime I let myself have whatever my sleep schedule is, it always turns back into that.
Nocturnal.
Yeah. I'd still, if nothing stopped me, I would wake up at sunset. And I don't know if it's okay that my mom was cool with that, but you know, maybe we'll see what you do with your kids. Good
We'll
luck.
do like sleep till noon, then get up.
That's fine. That's probably a
I'll
much
let you have
healthier
coffee
route.
even though you're 15. Like we'll do that.
Oh, I don't think I was allowed to have coffee at 15, so that still makes you the cool mom, even though they're waking up earlier than me.
I love that your mom's like, you can stay out drinking with your friends till 6 a.m., but no coffee for you.
It was a weird household.
End of that.
I don't know what to tell you, but it was a weird one. Anyway, when this comes out, my mom's actually going to be in town, so
Hi, Linda.
I can confront her directly on the sleep situation.
Please don't.
I will. I'll probably be bored enough. I'd like to stir up some shit. So
Oh, fun. Well, then FaceTime me first.
it gives about like 48 hours into ever seeing her. I'm like, okay, it's time to revert back to who I was. Let's cause problems.
I love that feeling when you're like, suddenly you're like all petulant and surly and you're like, what's wrong with me? Oh, right. I'm being a teenager again.
I feel so. I'm sure it's like a thing that everyone experiences when like you or grew up in the same house as your parents and then you have to see them. Like I've never experienced living with my mom as an adult for longer than a few days or maybe a few weeks. And without question, I always turn back into like a 15-year-old. And poor Allison has to like, is whenever they see each other within 2 days, Allison's basically watching me be a teenager. It's so
Be a high
embarrassing, but I
schooler.
can't
Oh,
stop
God.
it. I can't stop it.
You know what? That's the cross Allison bears dating you.
She has not left yet, so far so good.
Knock on wood.
All right, that's why I guess I drink for a lot of half reasons this week. So, are you drinking anything, by the way?
And my trash snacks. Yes, Em.
Oh, you're drinking your espresso thing. Yeah,
My
yeah.
thing that I put in this, this is a Shark Tank cup from a local bar where they put vodka and Sprite, and then they put grenadine in like a shark, and they put the
Oh,
toy
I've
shark.
seen those. That looks so fun.
But I'm so stupid, and like the first time I was like, you forgot there's no grenadine in this, and then I like pulled
Christine.
the shark out, and the grenadine went everywhere. I'm too
Yeah,
stupid
that
to realize
sounds
it's
right.
in the shark. So I collect these giant cups from there, and then put like my weird, trashy, fake coffee drinks in them.
Have you had the drink since knowing how to insert the grenadine into the cup?
I have, and it's a blast.
More of a blast than that coffee drink you're having?
Way more. This is not great.
Oh, I thought you like nailed your drink.
No, I usually don't. I try, and I usually don't.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think the only thing we have in the house right now is water. So, that's what I'm on.
That's what I'm on today.
Yeah, there's also coffee, but I obviously don't drink that because my mother raised me right.
Yeah, true.
Okay, so here's my story, Sweet Christine.
Oh, okay.
I love when I call you Sweet Christine. Also,
It makes me so happy. I feel like, talk about reverting back to childhood. I'm like, yes.
well, there's one of my favorite things that you do. It always makes me feel so valid.
Aw.
Well, it's nothing you can control. It just happens, and then when it happens, I go, "Ah!" And then
What is it?
it's whenever I say something and you're agreeing with me, you go, "It is."
Really?
It's I don't know what if I said like, "Oh, it feels like that feels really icky." I don't know. I'm trying to think of a random word. It feels really icky. You go, "It is," and also, and you just keep going. But it's like the way you say it. I'm like, "Wow, you meant it."
It is. There was a moment that happens, I think, in some of our, I don't want to give anything away, but in some of our, from the live show, I think there's a part where I say, it. Oh, it doesn't matter. I'll go back in the clips and find it. Oh, yeah, you say, it's so scary. And I say, it is. All of a sudden, sinister and alarming.
I don't know. Next time it happens, I guess I can point it out to you, but it usually happens so quickly that by the time I would mention it, you'd already be on to the next thing. But it's usually when you're like not fired up yet, but about to get fired up about something.
I'm like, yeah.
So then I also don't want to stop you and point it out because you're about to fucking go off, and I love when Christine goes off.
You like served me an alley oop. You're like, it's icky, and I'm like, and here's why.
That's me serving alley oops like the athlete I am. Okay,
That's the only reference I know. Alley oop.
I think the last time I heard someone ever say alley oop, I was like 9, and I was watching
Playing
like
with a koosh
Max
ball.
Keebler or something. Okay. Here's my story. This is a cryptid, and it's a cryptid I've wanted to cover for a while. And I don't remember, I feel like at one point I actually tried to do notes for this, and then I said never mind, and I don't totally know why. Maybe like something else came up and I felt like it was more topical. But this is the Fresno Nightcrawler.
I was just wondering if you've ever covered this because I saw, I don't know, some like tchotchke somewhere about it, and I was like, I don't think Em has ever covered this.
Honestly, I don't know either, as we just learned in our last conversation that like
Right, true.
I don't know. We literally have an episode list where I could have reviewed it, but
No, I don't
it's
think
too late.
I don't think you have.
I don't think I have either, but we'll find out from other people, I'm sure.
Evo the Eek.
Yeah, exactly. We've done it twice in a row, folks. Okay, so the Fresno Nightcrawler has been seen. Also, I wrote these notes when I was severely tired. So, we'll see how this goes.
Excellent.
Okay, Fresno Nightcrawler. The Fresno Nightcrawler, or the FNC, as my notes have it, has been seen multiple times, but only on footage, no face-to-face encounters, which is,
Ooh.
I think it's one of the main reasons why the Fresno Nightcrawler is considered a cryptid that nobody takes super seriously, because if it's only ever been seen on footage, it's very easy for there to
Sure.
be
Like a
doctored
hoax.
footage.
Yeah.
Also, it's not always taken super seriously because the Fresno Nightcrawler has only been witnessed maximum 3 times.
Oh.
Yeah. So not a lot of, evidence out there. But
If I remember, it's very creepy looking though.
it is very creepy. It looks like a tooth,
Yeah.
but the pokey parts at the bottom of the tooth are
Right.
its legs and very long.
Yeah.
It just,
and
it looks like 2
yeah.
legs and a little head on top.
Yeah, it's creepy.
So the first sighting is the first sighting that's taken seriously is in November 2007 in, go figure, Fresno, California. And I think Fresno, by the way, no, it wasn't Fresno. It was Fillmore or something. Something that sounds like Fresno was where they had the Back to the Future convention in 2015.
Oh.
Every time I hear Fresno, my heart skips a beat and I'm like, was it? And then I go, no, it was a different area.
It was a different city with an F in it.
Different city that starts with an F and ends with an it doesn't even end with an E. Okay.
No.
Fresno with an O, California. In November 2007, there was a guy named Jose, and he set up his camera, or he set up security cameras outside to see why his dogs were barking in the middle of the night. And one night he woke up and he ran over to check the cameras, and he saw that there were 2 creatures walking around his yard. And I guess some edits of this video that you can find online, they might be shortened, and it basically a lot of the footage nowadays looks like there was only 1 creature, but the long original version is that there were 2 creatures walking in his yard. So he saw 2 creatures walking around. He said that they were so there were 2 of them, but one of them was smaller than the other and following it. And they were
Nightcrawler.
a baby Nightcrawler. And they were both around 3 feet tall. That was like the average between the 2 of them. They had very long legs and no real upper body. In fact, Jose described them as a literal pair of white pajama pants that had come to life, strolling across his yard on their own.
It's a really positive way to look at it. I think I would go with your haunted tooth analogy before pajama pants, but
It looks like a tooth, but then I guess so does white pajama pants.
sort of.
I guess so. I mean, you Google it and you tell me which one you think it looks like, but it looks like both as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just looked like white pants walking around, which in my mind, I would be like, oh, that's a ghost wearing pants. Or I'd be like, oh, that's the Invisible Man or something. So he is seeing this happen on his cameras, and to make sure that he actually has this footage documented, he runs and grabs a handheld camcorder, and he films the security footage on the monitor.
Oh, because it's not like a recording device.
I don't know if it was recording, or maybe he didn't know if it would record and wanted to make sure. So he grabs his camera and he's filming the monitor as this is happening.
Right.
And somehow the original security camera footage was lost or maybe never recorded at all. So all we have to go off of is Jose's camera footage of it. The camera footage of the camera footage.
Right.
And unsure of what to do with this video, Jose sent it into the local TV station, and they were unsure of what to do with the footage, and they didn't know if it was legit, so if they should air it or not. And they ended up calling one of their contacts named Victor Camacho. And Victor Camacho actually was a resident nearby who hosted a late night paranormal radio show. He was like the actual radio rental or whatever. What's the one that Terry Carnation does now?
Yeah. Dark Air.
Dark Air. This is actual Terry Carnation with an actual Dark Air. So Victor hosted Los Desvelados, which was known as the Sleepless Ones.
Ooh, spooky.
And so he happened to run this paranormal radio show, and I guess he had a background in film, and he was a paranormal investigator. So they were like, this guy, let's call him and see if he knows anything about this footage, or from what he's talked about or heard about, maybe he has some answers. So Victor comes in to the TV station, and I guess this is where he also talks to Jose and asks him questions about the footage. And Jose seems really reserved about it. He seems super freaked out. He doesn't want to talk. So he's kind of a dead end. And Victor's like, I'm not getting anything out of him. And I guess he saw the footage, but the station didn't actually give him a copy of it. So after that day, Victor could never look at it or, look further into it on his own.
Okay.
It all kind of became a weird dead end. And when they hit this dead end, the network was like, well, let's air it anyway, because Victor didn't say it seemed fake. And like, even he was wondering if it was authentic or not. And that's good enough for us. So let's air the footage. So that was about 4 months later when the TV station decided that they were going to show people like.
They were just having like a slow day.
Yeah. And like, hey,
filler.
Local pajama pants running rampant. Yeah, 4 months later, the network decided to air the footage. And I guess Jose saw that it went on the air or something. And so he called Victor to say, like, hey, I saw that it was, played. But does that mean that there's any more information about the video? Did you figure anything out? And Victor said, no, the network never gave me a copy. So I wasn't ever able to look into it further. And Jose said, oh, I didn't know they never sent you a copy. If you come to my house, I'll give you one and you can look through it yourself and take all the time you need with it.
Can I ask, is there a reason why they haven't, he hasn't just, uploaded this to Google Drive or emailed it or something?
I think it was, because it was 2007, so I don't know.
I guess that was kind of a while ago now.
I think, I don't know what the tech was like at the time, but I imagine.
Was 15 years ago.
2007, wasn't that the beginning of YouTube?
About, I think, 05 or something, or 04. Yeah.
And I don't know if there was a way to convert a literal camera. I guess you could.
It was on a camcorder or something.
Yeah, it was on a camcorder. I don't know if.
They probably had those weird mini DVDs that we all thought were the future, and then. Never happened.
You really brought that back out of
we have so many of those, and I'm like, I don't know what to do with them.
That's got to be maybe what he. I don't know. He clearly could put it on a computer if he was going to be able to make him a copy. Or I don't even know if it would require a computer. I don't know what that would.
But that makes sense that he would have to come.
CD?
Yeah, something like that. So that makes sense that he would have to come to his house. Because I was just wondering, why doesn't he just email it? But I guess this makes sense because it had to be on a physical copy.
Yeah, I can't imagine. In 2007 was also right around LimeWire era.
Oh yeah,
and the fact that uploading a song took 3 days. I can't even imagine what the data would look like of trying to upload a video and then send it somewhere.
Yeah, that's a very, very, very solid point.
Probably would have taken the exact same amount of time for Victor to drive all the way to Jose's house and grab it, if not faster.
No, makes sense.
So he goes to Jose's house to get his own copy of it. And while he's there, Victor decides to investigate Jose's yard, since that's where the camera caught these things. And I guess because he can now see everything proportionally, he was able to determine the height of these creatures. And it seemed to be around 3 feet.
Okay.
Shortly after Victor had his own copy, I think only a couple weeks later, he ended up going to the 2008 MUFON UFO Symposium, which is, so MUFON is the Mutual UFO Network, and it's the big UFO group, and every year they have a symposium or they have a a get together where a bunch of UFO experts and enthusiasts will show footage or have lectures and things like that. I've wanted to go. I'm part of MUFON and I've never been to an event yet, but I always thought it'd be cool. But it seems like it's like a straight up very serious conference where they
Right.
like,
It's not like a
it's not
fan
like Alien
convention.
Con. Yeah.
right.
Or I guess it is, but it's like a more like an adult version of
You
that.
and I would show up and like glow in the dark and like have like glow bracelets, and they'd be like, you actually need to leave. This is
We
really
would
inappropriate.
be dressed up like inflatable aliens or something. So in 2008, Victor, or a couple weeks later, Victor goes to the 2008 MUFON symposium and he brings this footage with him and does a lecture for people. But even the people in the audience, like everyone working together, nobody could determine what this creature was. 2 years later, the footage, I don't know how, but got passed through, the grapevine, and the show Fact or Faked Paranormal Files, which was aired on my dad's favorite, Siffy. It's actually their second episode ever. It was season 1, episode 2.
Ooh.
They did an episode on the Fresno Nightcrawler. I think this is actually where they dubbed it the Fresno Nightcrawler. So up until that point, it was just like the pajama pants. I don't know. Bananas and pajamas minus the bananas.
That has a good ring to it, Good job.
Thank
I
you.
think that'll stick.
It'll surely make its way somewhere, maybe to the garbage, but
To the trash can.
so they tried to on Siffy's Faked or Fact, they tried to recreate the footage to the best of their ability to prove that it was either a hoax or that it could be authentic footage if they couldn't replicate it. And they decided that this footage was, quote, unexplainable, and it would at the very least be very difficult to fake. So they never said it was fact, but they did. Whoa.
That was
Honestly,
an accident. I'm so sorry.
It was insulting, but also hilarious. Okay. I mean, I get it though.
Fucking buttons to hit.
Honestly, that was the perfect button because I was saying like, oh, we don't know if it's authentic or not. So whatever.
I didn't even notice where that was coming from for a minute, and I was like, right, my foot. Okay.
Is that where
Sorry.
your mixer
it's on the
is?
floor, and that's the problem. Is I keep accidentally kicking it. 'Cause I fidget too much.
That's a bold move when you've got 2 cats and a baby who's about to crawl.
Oh yeah.
There's going to be a lot of oopsie daisy buttons being pressed.
It's not my smartest decision in life, and yet I probably will never change it.
No, I don't think you will. I can almost confirm that. For fact or faked, that is a fact. So they tried to recreate the footage. They couldn't figure it out. And basically they came to a dead end just like everyone else.
Okay.
And this is probably what gave the Fresno Nightcrawler its more public platform. Because I think up until that point, people didn't know across the nation who the Fresno Nightcrawler was or what the Fresno Night. And now it's 2010 and it's aired on this TV show, and I think that's where it finally gets its name.
I see.
So not even a full year later, in 2011, we have our second sighting of the Fresno Nightcrawler, which is in Yosemite, California. And the national park's security decided that they were going to set up cameras to catch a group of people who had been breaking in and destroying property in the park. And on their camera, they ended up catching another pair of very short creatures made mainly of leg.
I thought you were going to say another pair of pants, and I was like, ooh.
A pair of pants. Mm-hmm. The creatures were mostly leg. And nothing but leg. And is
that what he said or what you said?
I don't remember anymore. Probably a combo of us.
Mostly leg is quite a phrase.
Mainly made of legs is what I have written here. Also, they had no arms and a small upper body, if any upper body. So just a pair of pants going for a little national park stroll.
How lovely.
And this is considered the other main evidence of the Fresno Nightcrawler. However, this video, I guess analysts are more inclined to say is debunkable. debunkable. You know, that's a word.
Sure.
So I think the original Jose's video seems to be the one that people take the most seriously. But then once you get to the Yosemite footage, people are like, okay, like maybe not real. But then again, I don't know why like the Yosemite National Park Service
That's what I was
would
about to say.
debunk this.
Or
So
you mean
I-
like would fake it? Like why
or would fake it? Yeah.
Why would they fake it? I mean, I guess they could, but it's just like a strange. It's not just some rando. It's like, oh no, the National Park Service is like, let's get in on this hoax. Maybe
With-
I don't know.
Without knowing anything about the National Park Service, I feel like they're always looking for ways to draw people in. Like you want to come to our
that's
park.
a good point.
And maybe they were like, hey, we have a cryptid, so do your worst, you know? But
Yeah,
then,
come on in.
I don't know, but then they also just set up security cameras because people were like breaking in and like causing a ruckus. So I don't
Or
know.
did they? Because maybe they faked the
Oh.
story. You know, who knows?
I don't know, but people have said that the footage just really looks like pajama pants walking around. So, and many think that this video in particular could be reproduced with CGI and someone with a pair of stilts, where they just like, I guess, walk them around and make it look like they're moving
That
on
is
their own.
Bizarre. Okay.
There's another video that's often brought up. This is technically like the third piece of evidence, but it's if the original video was taken much more seriously than the Yosemite video, this third video is really not really taken super seriously.
Oh, okay.
But these are the three that always get mentioned in all the
Right.
sources. So the third one is that some guy in Poland swears that he saw the Fresno Nightcrawler.
Oh.
And he caught it on his handheld camera, which was like very shaky and the video quality wasn't super great. Also, it was in Poland when the only other two witnesses have been from California.
Right.
So people were like, that doesn't track. And there is the argument of like, oh, after 2010, when this became like a nationally understood creature, you know, people could be, the faking and the hoaxes could really blow up. So like
right.
this
Like
guy
it
from
could be
Poland.
international now.
Yeah, and he could have just seen the show and been like, "Oh, I've seen something like that too." So we don't totally know, and that's one of the other arguments for the Yosemite video because it came out a few months after that
Right,
episode
right.
aired. So it's like maybe
They could be just trying to capitalize on that somehow or jump on
I
the
think it's
bandwagon.
a genius marketing ploy, though. If you are part of the Park Service trying to get more people in, so
It's not a bad idea. I mean,
if you work for a park and you make up a cryptid and just like swear to secrecy about it and just make it look as realistically as possible, I'm more likely to come to your park.
M will probably be there.
That's someone who doesn't hike saying I would come to your
That
park.
like that's high praise.
That's a ring ding dinger as far as I'm concerned.
Oh,
No?
Okay.
Okay. So the Yosemite and Poland videos are often included, as I said, in the Fresno Nightcrawler story, but they're often very debated about how doctored the footage might be.
Right.
Again, I am most inclined to believe the Yosemite one since it's the National Park Service offering this footage, but whatever. And on top of those two videos always being included in the story, there are also several videos that have surfaced on YouTube, or there's been stories from Redditors claiming that they've come in contact with the Fresno Nightcrawler, but they are almost always considered hoaxes right off the bat.
right.
I think no one really believes it because every time footage has come out, it has been more easily debunked than the last
Right.
one. So at this point, it's like, yeah, we've all seen the Fresno Nightcrawler. Okay. To a point where several YouTubers, this was back in like 2011-ish, so probably right at the height of when YouTube was blowing up.
Yeah.
Right? I would say 2011.
Yeah.
A bunch of YouTubers took it upon themselves to make videos on their channels where they tried to debunk the footage of the Fresno Nightcrawler.
Oh.
One of them, his name was Phil Poling, and he had a channel called Para Breakdown. And basically the whole goal was, I guess, in each episode to like find a spooky video and debunk it or
Oh.
Mythbusters it in some way.
Yeah.
And so him and his group tried to recreate Jose's original footage. And as far as multiple sources went, I don't know if you're listening, Phil Poling, but Para Breakdown is known to be the one YouTube channel that was able to make a near replica of Jose's footage using puppets and wires.
Oh, interesting.
So they were able to at least I don't know if they were able to say like, oh, so the video is definitely fake, but they were able to certainly make it look the same.
That's interesting. So this is the first time we've gotten a hint as to how it could have been faked if it was faked.
Yeah, and it's puppets and wires.
Okay.
But another thing to note with Jose's footage is that it's the easiest to judge, but the hardest to replicate because of how distorted the footage was. Because it was a recording of a recording on outdated pixelated technology.
Right.
And here's a quote from one of the sources. The original video is the video that comes off of an off-the-shelf security camera, which is then filmed on a camcorder, which is then dubbed by a TV station, then edited into a news show, then DVR'd, edited into a video file, then put onto a projector at a conference and filmed by yet another video camera and then uploaded to YouTube.
Oh my God, that's the whole process of it? That's a lot of layers.
I think it was like multiple people uploading the same, like multiple people recording the recording, which was recording the recording, and it just became this like big mess of a
and then
video.
When you downloaded it off Napster, at the end it would be like DJ, blah, 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 and you were like, "Fuck! I just spent 12 hours downloading this copy of the song."
Every 30 seconds it goes, "Ha!"
Yeah, some fucking idiot throwing his name into it.
I remember one of my birthdays, my friend Cole, it was like my 15th birthday, so it was like 2007. He burnt me a CD of like all of like our favorite songs, and I couldn't even enjoy it because clearly every song was bootlegged, and every 30 seconds it was like Calabrese remix, and then it would say Calabrese remix every 30 seconds, and in a song that's 3 minutes long, that's,
it's gonna be
that's
really
a lot of Calabrese
annoying.
remix. And so he was so proud of himself. I think it was the first whole CD he had burned, and he was like, "What do you think?" And I was like, "I can't be honest with you about this."
We should
remix.
If this were an April Fool's episode, we could just have Eva underneath say that every 30 seconds throughout the entire episode.
I think Calabrese would sue us 10 years into the past.
True, yeah.
10,
for stealing their free Napster content. Yeah, okay.
Calabrese, if you're out there, I hated you.
But like, look at this platform you've got now. You know, Calabrese.
Hey, I wish you had this platform in 2007. Otherwise, I don't know. Maybe you're doing really well. Good for you if that's what's happening. Oh, but wow, you did not make songs enjoyable for me. I gotta be honest.
Remix haunts M's nightmares.
I think I still have the CD because I obviously got attached to it, but absolutely will I never play it? Forget it.
Man.
Anyway, so this video, what we're saying, might as well have had a Calabrese remix.
That's what I'm saying. I feel it could very well be. Yeah.
Well, so what?
Sorry.
What?
I opened Calabrese's SoundCloud and I didn't know it would autoplay, and then it began auto-playing in my ears, and I didn't know if you could hear it or not.
No, I thought, like, I don't know, you met the ghost of Calabrese or something.
I did, because it sounded like this. Boop, 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 boop. And I was like, what the hell is the sound? Anyway, I'm out of here now.
I'm glad you're checking in. Is she doing all right? I think
I don't know, because I don't think this is even anything.
That's probably not the same person.
I don't think so.
That person's probably like a 45-year-old mom now or something. I don't know.
Oh, I don't talk about those days.
If they're listening, they're probably like covering their ears and rocking right now. Being
like, I never
please don't
wanted
remind
anyone
me
to find this.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so basically the footage was
a Calabrese remix.
And it was the easiest to judge, but it was the hardest to replicate just because it was so pixelated that there was almost no way to properly replicate it, but also it was so easy to judge because you could be like, that's not real. Like, because it's so warped at this point or so degraded.
Right.
So at this point, Jose has passed away, so he can't confirm or deny anything about the footage. All we know is that he did seem really rattled when he handed it off to the station in 2007. Mm-hmm. So people say like, okay, if he faked it, like he was fully faking his behavior too. And so.
Right. He didn't seem like he wanted to get on the news and talk about it or anything.
Yeah, and to a point where he actually kept his last name private and everything. He didn't want it to affect his family. Oh. So he did seem like he wanted someone to give him answers, but he wanted nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
So there's that. And there have been sightings, other sightings of similar creatures, but they are not officially deemed the Fresno Nightcrawler. One of them is actually before Jose's time in 2004, when in Indiana, there were two different sets of drivers one night who saw a 6-foot humanoid on the side of the road with long legs who moved in a disjointed, oddly way.
Oh, I don't like that.
I don't either. And in 2014, which is after all of this, in Ohio, a couple saw a quote, alien run across the road and into the woods. And the couple described this alien as a 7-foot humanoid with long legs, no face, no arms, pale and gray white. And it's similar in some ways.
Yeah.
But the main difference between them is, first of all, neither the Indiana situation or the Ohio situation, the creature was not in California.
Right.
The creature was like double the height that it's said to be. And
well, maybe the ones in California were two babies.
Maybe they were babies. Yeah, maybe there are taller ones that are more dominant or a different sex or different,
They're the Midwestern, the Midwestern bread and butter.
The Midwestern monsters compared to the 4-foot babies in the Yosemite National Park. And what was the other difference between them? Oh, that the ones in Indiana and Ohio, they were seen by themselves, when both California instances, the Fresno Nightcrawlers were like buddy systemed.
Interesting.
So those are the main differences. And again, they seem kind of similar, but not entirely. So they're not fully included as part of the Fresno Nightcrawler theory, but those stories are always mentioned as like, oh, similar things have been seen.
Right.
In fact, in 2014, the Ohio story, they ended up just coming up with a completely different name altogether for the alien that they saw. And so it is called the Carmel area. Carmel, Ohio? Carmel?
I don't know.
Carmel. So the one that they saw has officially been named the Carmel area creature.
Oh.
So I guess it could technically be a Fresno Nightcrawler. It's just twice the height.
It's just the grass-fed version.
Yeah. Yes. It's organic.
Sorry. No, the California one's organic.
Oh, right.
This one's pumped full of hormones and soy. Don't you worry.
Oh, it's the one that Zandy is like probably putting out flyers for, I think.
Yes. He wants to save it.
So the Carmel area creature, if you've heard of that, it could also possibly be a Fresno Nightcrawler. So other than the Indiana situation and the Ohio one, there haven't been any official reported sightings. The other thing that makes those two separate from the Fresno Nightcrawler is that they reported seeing something with their eyes, and the other two instances were recorded on camera footage.
Right.
So they're just a little too different for people to take them seriously, I guess.
Okay.
But the official Fresno Nightcrawler, for anyone who cares, it's described as the following: around 3 feet, looks white or gray. It literally looks like walking pants. And since they're shorter, it looks like children's walking pants. They are uninterested in human contact. There have been no official face-to-face encounters, and they go in pairs, usually one smaller than the other. And the explanations so far have been the following: it could be an alien, fair enough.
Yep.
It could be a crane-like bird. It could be a deer standing upright. It could be an undiscovered primate. Really a lot of options here.
Wow.
It could be a person hoaxing us with puppetry or stilts. And it could also be, some people think it's just straight up a ghost because Fresno and Yosemite are said to be haunted areas.
Right.
And I personally think that maybe
my next question. What do you think it is?
I personally think it's like it's maybe someone walking around in those like super reflective pants and the camera just caught it on night vision.
Oh.
You know, like flash pants and all that.
Yeah.
We're like, because I have a pair of them, and I don't, maybe in 2007, like people just didn't know a lot lot them.
And it's so weird because every time you cross the street, people start screaming because they think there's like a pair of walking pants, and I'm like, what are they so scared of?
They honestly, they are more scared when I'm not wearing pants. That's the truth.
That's true. You're trying to do them a favor, okay?
But no,
It's
like
the Burbank Nightcrawler.
That's me. Except I'm certainly up at night.
I was going to say, you are nocturnal. We already determined that.
Certainly not the day crawler, that's for sure. Yeah, I have a few pieces of clothing that, like, when you turn your flash on, it like glows insanely bright and it looks super cool in pictures. And like that would make sense because it blocks out the rest of you. Like all you can see are the pants.
Right. And if there's like a floodlight or like something that's triggered by motion, that would turn on. That's interesting.
I would love to see someone try to like, I would love to just see anyone on CCTV footage walk around in flash pants, and it's going to look like the Fresno Nightcrawler.
I've never seen this footage, this Fresno footage. I'm just going to look up the pictures because I feel like I've Googled it before at night and it scared the hell out of me.
It does look creepy.
They are so freaky looking, I'm going to be honest with you.
Okay, does it look a little bit like a tooth?
Yeah, it does.
And does it look a little bit like pajama pants?
It does. It looks like, can I tell you what it looks like? You're not going to like this. It looks like a thneed to me.
Christine,
I'm
shut the
not
fuck
making
up.
that up. Look at it. Okay,
You're fully a liar.
I'm sending you a picture. No, I'm serious. Why would I think of that? Well,
okay. Next question.
Okay, a thneed. It has those two long, creepy legs. I don't know. It looks like a thneed to me.
You just keep wanting to say the word, and honestly, you've got two creepy legs, so I don't know. It looks like a Christine as far as I'm concerned. I'm sorry, a Christneed.
I'm sending you a picture.
Attachment. Oh, it does look. It looks okay. You're right.
Right, a little bit.
You're right, but I really need you to not say the word anymore.
I'm gonna stop.
Horrific.
I'm gonna stop for today.
It's honestly worse than the image of Fresno Nightcrawler.
Oh my god, that would talk about haunting M's nightmares.
So I personally think it's someone just wearing reflective pants.
That's such an interesting theory,
and especially if like the Yosemite people already thought somebody was breaking in.
Right.
I mean, I also, to be fair, I didn't see the footage of the Yosemite one, so maybe you can see a lot of stuff around them and like you would clearly see an upper torso. Like I'm talking out of my ass here, but my first go-to gut opinion was, oh, it's just reflective pants and it's blocking out everything else. But I could be totally wrong. I'm sure that was someone's theory at one point and it got debunked, and so I'm late to the game. But that was my first thought.
That's a really interesting theory. I like it.
Thank you. And then also there has been speculation that the Fresno Nightcrawler is part of local native folklore. Oh. There was a theory for a second that some of the tribe members in the area even came forward and said, oh, the Fresno Nightcrawler has been here forever. They have long legs because they live in swamps. And so the legs help them like walk around in the swamps. And their whole purpose is that they're here to help us, to help humankind connect with nature.
Well, it's not working because I would not leave my house if I saw that thing in my backyard. Are you kidding me?
Well, so here's the other thing, though. There are other sources that say that either the native tribes discussed this. There's other sources that basically say that never happened, or it was revisited and debunked that there is no native lore similar to this creature. There was even a point where someone claimed that they saw native artwork, which I don't even know what that would mean, but someone saw native artwork and statues of the Fresno Nightcrawler, I guess in their mind to like connect them of like, oh, there's native artwork of the Fresno Nightcrawler. That means that the Fresno Nightcrawler has native roots or indigenous roots. And then someone was like, well, where's this artwork? And he was like, oh, it's at a California DMV. And then
what?
And then apparently nobody's ever been able to find this DMV that has the artwork. So I feel like someone just completely made this shit up in like a weird random way to be like, oh, you know, maybe there was artwork that looked like the Fresno Nightcrawler and someone just decided that.
And when questioned, they were like, oh shit, what's a place that no one will ever go to follow up with DMV? That's where I found it.
So basically there's no proof that this art represents the Fresno Nightcrawler. There's no proof that the art even exists, let alone there's no proof that the Fresno Nightcrawler and has local indigenous lore involved, or that the Fresno Nightcrawler is connected to native lore at all. So it's kind of a phony baloney way of trying to incorporate,
right, to make it seem more legit or like yeah.
So the only thing I have left to say is my favorite thing about the Fresno Nightcrawler, it's one of my favorite things about certain cryptids, is that most people are very aware of how unlikely it is that this thing exists. even though a lot of people say, okay, the original footage from Jose is kind of weird and like we've been able to replicate it on that YouTube channel, but like for the most part, like it is creepy and it can't be explained.
Yeah.
Other than that, most people are very quick to be like, the Fresno Nightcrawler 99% does not exist.
Oh.
And I just love when cryptids are like loved and also known to be complete bullshit. But
Yeah.
like, there's a lot of people who truly stand behind Bigfoot slash Sasquatch.
Sure.
And there are even people I remember who are like really about the Jersey Devil. But then there's like things like Mothman where like everyone's like 99% sure that's not true, but also could not love him more. And so
Could not love him more. I mean, it reminds me of the Squonk. Like, that's basically fiction.
Squonk for sure.
Squonk is like the funnest story ever.
I just love when cryptids have a fandom and everyone's like very aware it is a completely fabricated fandom. So I'm into it. And honestly, the Fresno Nightcrawler in particular, I wouldn't say more so than Mothman, but definitely competing for the title with Mothman. Fresno Nightcrawler has quite a lot of fun things you can find on Etsy.
That's where I've seen it a lot, like on stickers and like plushes. I've seen a lot of crochet plushes.
There's actually, I just looked earlier, and there's someone 3D prints, I think, life-size Fresno Nightcrawlers. It's only like, it's only like 2 or 3 feet, so it's like, it could be like a little thing that sits in the corner of your apartment, but they also glow in the dark, like so it looks like they glow at night.
It looks like you have your own pair of flash pants in the corner.
Honestly, you could just go buy some like white flash pants from Goodwill and just thumbtack them to the wall, and you've got yourself a Fresno Nightcrawler. But yeah, I thought that was super fun. That like in terms of cryptids that have their own fandom, you can certainly find that out for yourself on Etsy with this one. So
there's a lot of cute stuff. It's just such a weird looking creature that it's like probably fun to make merch for.
Probably, yeah. Anyway, that is the Fresno Nightcrawler.
I love it. I'm telling you, I've been like so into your stories, and maybe it's just because I'm on Zoloft now, but I'm like loving it.
I really wish you had been on Zoloft our whole friendship then, because
you
recently,
me too, baby.
You recently make me feel a whole lot of love with everything that comes out of my mouth.
Oh boy. Well, thank you. That was a good one. I've always wanted to learn more about the Fresno Nightcrawler, and because I think it's arguably, if it were real, I think it's one of the creepiest looking cryptids. Personally.
It's super creepy, and I feel like maybe him and Mothman are like kind of in like,
will they, won't they?
Yeah, you get it.
I absolutely get it. And by the way, folks, I don't know if we've talked enough about this yet, but we're doing a round 2 of our Cryptid Poetry Slam this summer, late summer.
It's officially, we said last year, it's our new annual thing, and usually we don't
follow through.
we try so hard, but we just get forgetful. But no. I remembered like a month ago, I was like, that's coming up. We need to keep on. So it is officially an annual tradition, and we are bringing it back. It was what was it last year? It was a poetry slam / auction / live show. Is that what it was?
So it was a poetry slam, and it was also a live auction.
Live auction.
And so we had small businesses, a lot of them cryptid based, and even wooden dildos, all sorts of fun stuff. And that's why we drink themed jewelry, just all sorts of fun stuff for people to bid on while we did our poetry slam and read poetry that people submitted. So it was like we read listener submissions of slam poetry, and people could bid on stuff. It was really fun. And we are doing it together this year. And so I'm going to fly out to LA.
Christine inserted herself into my home.
I did.
She was like, I'll be there. And I went, you'll be where? And she will be here inside my house, inside my mind. So
I'm already there. We know that I'm already in your mind.
So it's going to be super fun. Shout out in advance to Eva for having to do all the behind the scenes stuff on that.
Yay.
It's we are
she
very
was probably
lucky.
hoping we forgot about it, but we didn't.
Oopsies. But anyway, we are very excited about it. I'm excited to hear some of your creepy poetry. It was a real blast last time because speaking of will they, won't theys, I feel like there was a lot of sexual tension with Mothman and Bigfoot last year.
There was a lot. I only got a little jealous, but it's fine.
So if you want to, some people, they really delivered on the sexy poetry for cryptids. And
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited to see where it goes this year.
Like, M was supremely uncomfortable, and it was the best day of my life.
I'm happily willing to relive that, though, for more quality poetry.
Yeah, we will get to you the email address and all that in upcoming episodes and on social media. I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but we'll get the submissions open soon, and you can start work on your...
Oh.
Fuck!
Was that the beginning of the poetry slam? Are you hiding something from me?
Okay, that was an accident, but that was the button I was going to press today, actually.
Hey, it worked out. It felt spooky as you were talking about spooky things.
Wow, that was... I'm annoyed that I did it too early, but I don't know how I keep doing this today.
Your toes are very hyperactive, and I am aware of it.
As you know, I fidget so much. I can't stop.
My toes are jealous of your toes that they're getting a little workout.
I just can't stop fidgeting. It's probably this crappy coffee I'm drinking. The reason I was going to play that sound for you is because I did something.
What?
I kind of stole your topic for the week.
Stole my topic?
I stole a paranormal topic for the week. And
Oh.
I'll explain why I did it. But I want to first apologize because I know you do have a fear of somehow running out of stories, which I don't think will happen, but I know it's a real fear. So I will offer you any true crime story in replacement in a future episode if you would like to take any of my true crime stories to cover.
What is the meaning of this? Why does it start true crime and become paranormal, or did you just say fuck it?
I said fuck it. So here's
what?
Let me
There's
explain.
not even a reason for this.
There is a reason. There's a reason.
What's happening?
So my brother-in-law Jesse, who who lived with us in LA, and who works in production in Los Angeles, texted me this week, and he said, "Hey, I just want to let you know the production company that I'm working for is releasing a show next week called Alien Endgame on Discovery Plus."
Okay.
And I was like, and he was like, "I have like a bunch of information, and I figured I could send it to you if you're interested, or if you want to send it to M or something." And I was like, maybe I'll just do like a little plot twist and cover an alien story. And so he sent me the episode. I got to watch it, like a screener of it. And it was super good. And so he sent me some details about a Kentucky alien and I just felt like I had to cover it. So I'm sorry. I stole your topic.
My toes hurt from being stepped on, but it's okay. I don't know how I feel. It's all good. But I am curious as how you're going to set the story up. Because have I heard you cover an alien story before?
I don't think you've heard me cover an alien story. I've never covered one, and I feel weird about it. But I felt also weird about just like messaging you and being like, here's a story. You need to do all this research and read all these documents and cover it. I don't know. I just felt weird, and I really wanted to give Jesse's like show a little shout out because
man, I only wish you told me so we could have both done a little crossover.
Well,
it's okay. Well, I'm gonna get you back is all I'm gonna say. And I don't know how or when.
But that's what I'm saying. I want to welcome you to get me back even twice over if you want, because I know that stealing a paranormal story is a big deal for me to be doing. But
it is a spooky move.
but what I can tell you is there are several stories in the episode, and I didn't watch the other. I like skipped the other ones to make sure I didn't spoil any of the other stories for myself. So there are like 4 more in the episode if you want to cover any of those aliens.
I'm into it. I don't know how I'll get you back yet. I have to find the perfect crime. We haven't covered it yet, by the way. I don't know in my mind. I don't know. Okay, I'm on it. My little brain's ticking away.
Anyway, so I apologize again. This is the Mantell UFO encounter. Thomas Mantell.
Mantell. Okay, I don't think I've heard of that one.
Okay, I hadn't either, obviously. But so here's the gist of this. So Jesse sent me the screener of Alien Endgame. It's super fun. It's super creepy. I was actually scared and I had to watch some Schitt's Creek before bed because I scared myself. And He also sent me a lot of information that he used when he was helping produce the show. So he sent me like pictures of the crash, which I'll talk about, Project Blue Book reports, like all these old documents that have been scanned in and are now declassified. And so he has all these Google folders set up with all this stuff in it. So it was very fun to like dig through. And Thomas Mantell, who's the main character in this story, his grandsons Eric and Terry are interviewed in the Alien Endgame episode, so you can like watch his grandchildren like discover the story about him and stuff. So it's kind of cool. I think Jesse also sent it to me because it takes place in Franklin, Kentucky, so
pretty nearby,
local story. So this occurred in 1948, so it's a kind of old-timey story. And in June of 2021, the Pentagon, which I think we haven't totally talked about yet, and I'm sure you will cover at some point, but the Pentagon released an official report detailing 144 UFO encounters by the military that they could not explain. So it's become clear, basically, that now these military UFO sightings are more than just mass hysteria or weather balloons, etc.
Okay.
So because, they actually admitted, like, hey, we're the government and we don't know what these things are. And it's like, well, that's alarming.
Totally not helpful and calming.
Totally chill. Totally cool. It's fine. So the story took place January 7th of 1948. Control tower operators at Fort Knox, Kentucky began receiving calls about an unidentified flying object that was hovering over the Air Force Base. It was described as huge, metallic, circular in appearance, and approximately 250 to 300 feet in diameter, moving westward at a pretty good clip. So the first thing I think is maybe this is some experimental aircraft. So they contact the Kentucky Air National Guard to see if they have any knowledge of what this thing could be. Surprise, surprise. They don't have any experimental aircraft in the area. They don't know what it is. So they send out 25-year-old Captain Thomas Mantell to the scene, and he is flying a P-51 aircraft, and he is leading 4 aircraft at that point. So he and these airplanes all go in formation to check in on this object, see what it is, and he reports that it's shiny, metallic, and tremendous in size.
Ooh.
I know, it gives me the creeps. At one point, he even says he can see observation windows on the craft, which freaks me out.
Yeah, because that means someone wants to see you.
Or there's people, or not people, but something that can see out.
Something in there that is able to observe.
Yeah, exactly. So out of nowhere, Mantell gives what the episode calls an astonishing order to one of the men in his formation. He says, return to base and arm your planes with hot guns, which basically means prepare
ready to fire.
Yeah, exactly, on this thing. So he essentially is feeling threatened by whatever this is and thinks this is a serious matter, a serious threat to them. Meanwhile, after sending his men back to load up their weapons at the base, Mantell continues to follow the aircraft, and suddenly he's passing 20,000 feet in the air. He's going higher and higher and following this thing. And here's a clip from one of the newspaper articles that Jesse sent over. It says, what we do know is that a transcript of the communications between the control tower and Captain Mantell indicate Mantell said, the object is directly ahead of and above me now, moving at about half my speed. It appears to be a metallic object or possibly reflection of sun from a metallic object, and it is of tremendous size. I'm still climbing. I'm trying to close in for a better look. Listening to radio traffic between Godman Tower and Captain Mantell was USAF officer Richard Miller, who later claimed he clearly heard Captain Mantell state, my God, I see people in this thing.
Oh my God.
Isn't that fucking terrifying?
That's all. At the end, that's all I needed.
Gives me shivers.
If I were looking for some goose cam today, I officially have it.
Yeah, it's so creepy.
Ugh, and they were watching him gain on them.
Oh, yeah. Out their little windows.
Yeah. They're like, Xenon, pedal to the metal, go.
Xenon! Now is not the time to follow the speed limit, Xenon. So suddenly, he's climbing higher and higher, following this craft, and he's reporting back to the base. Suddenly, they lose touch with him. He's going higher and higher, and all of a sudden, there's this tremendous noise as his airplane spirals and begins to plummet toward the earth, and it crashes to the ground, and he is killed upon impact.
Oh, shit.
So the theory is that he suffered from hypoxia at this point, which means he climbed so high in his aircraft that he ran out of oxygen and lost
Oh, shit.
control of his airplane, and it went down. But either way, the airplane went down. There are photos of the crash that Jesse sent me. It's very sad. Here are some witness reports of what it was like seeing or hearing the airplane crash. This is from the U.S. Air Force accident report. So here's one quote of the plane crashing. The last radio contact with Captain Mantell was at 20,000 feet, and from all appearances, he seemed to have the aircraft under perfect control. The aircraft was making a terrific noise, ever increasing as it descended, according to the statement of 2 witnesses. The airplane exploded halfway between where it started the dive and the ground. None of the witnesses observed any fire coming from the aircraft during the descent. When Mr. Walker arrived, the body of the pilot had been removed from crash by unknown parties, had parachute on. So, unfortunately, he was killed. He was only 25. Really, really tragic. And so, in the episode Alien Endgame, they interview local resident Doyle Burnett, who was one of the last people to see the aircraft. He was only 7 years old when the actual aircraft
Wow.
fell. And so, interestingly, this is very small town, Kentucky. He was 7, and his wife now also witnessed a crash. She was 4 at the time.
Shut up. Oh, that's so freaky.
Isn't that weird?
That's just so fun.
It's like grandma and grandpa both saw this wild UFO crash situation. So according to Doyle Burnett, he heard an explosion and saw a plane coming down. One wing fell off the plane and flew off into a nearby field. And then Doyle's wife, Patsy, who was also 4, who was 4 at the time, witnessed the crash as well. Also, I love that their names are Doyle and Patsy. It's just like,
I know.
what a duo.
It feels like a comic
It does feel
team.
like a comic.
Sounds like a 1940s investigator team, like Patsy and Doyle on the
Patsy
case.
and Doyle on the case. That's actually really good. It sounds
Yeah.
like a crime.
Give us
cozy
the
mystery.
scoop. Give us the scoop by Patsy and Doyle.
Oh, that's good. Somebody make a little film noir poster of that.
Oh, yes, please.
So after the crash, news reports went wild. There were headlines about a military craft crashing while chasing a UFO, but the military did show up on site to investigate, so they were taking this pretty seriously. Patsy even said that they came to her family's house and woke them up in the middle of the night to ask questions about it, which I always find is super suspicious when the military's like, we need answers now in the middle of the night. Like,
Yeah, anytime the story goes that there's like someone in a suit who knocks on your door,
Men in Black
it's like,
shit.
yeah, it's like, we're absolutely here to make sure you never discuss this again.
Yeah, and you need to
Oy.
tell us everything you saw. And she remembers this, and she was only 4 at the time.
If you ever see, by the way, something happening, folks, and then you think there might be people in a big old black and white suit come at your door later tonight, just like start recording on your phone. Like, just like have it. Just maybe just go to like that audio app or whatever it is with the little wave sound. Just press record and then tell them everything you want.
Do a
Yeah.
little voice memo.
Yeah. And maybe have a backup recorder going on somewhere in case they try to delete it, you know?
Well, why not just step outside onto the porch and then have the conversation in front of the Ring doorbell?
Bingo, bango.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I would. I feel like for your own sanity, before they gaslight the shit out of you that you never saw anything, fun to have.
Just have it, just in case, to send to our email, just in case, for safety.
You get it. And I love recording myself anytime I'm talking to what I assume would be anyway a white man. So I just so they don't try to do any bullshit later with my voice.
You never know.
Never know.
So when Patsy's mother asked these military folks who were following up why Mantell had crashed, they just said the standard answer, which was that he had flown too high and run out of oxygen, but like left out the details of why he was flying so high. And so pretty soon the government kind of turned this into like, oh, it was just a balloon, which seems to be one of those classic stories. Yeah, favorite. So I'm going to read just this headline, or just this part of an article, which came out that week, called "Mysterious Object Pursued by Mantell, Probably Balloon from Orange Bowl Game." It says, the mysterious object in the sky, which Captain Thomas F. Mantell reportedly was chasing when he fell to his death in a plane crash, last Wednesday may have been nothing more than a helium-filled balloon, the Associated Press reported Sunday. So they started kind of this story that this was just a big balloon. It was a misunderstanding. And so Jesse sent this document from, I think it's called NICAP. Is that how you say it? National Investigations Committee on Aerial Phenomena.
That's how I say it.
NICAP. And it lists cases from January through March of 1948 and what they were determined to be. So it's really interesting. They have like the name of the observer, which is often redacted. And then they have a column where it's like, this is what it was determined to be. And it lists this case as a balloon. And some of the other cases, just for fun, and we looked through them. Some were listed as astrological and were either considered to be someone having seen Venus or Jupiter, or a flare in the sky, or balloon. And so there was actually one in Warren, Minnesota, that was just called a hoax. So they didn't even give it
They weren't even trying
a planetary reason. So suddenly the military reports backpedaled. And instead of, believing this was an unidentified object, even though they had up until now, they reported it was Venus or a weather balloon. But there is an intelligence memo from the Air Force Base that year, which has been declassified, so we can read it now. And it actually says, quote, "It is apparent from the data given above that the object sighted at Godman Air Force Base on 7 January 1948 was not the planet Venus. Therefore, this sighting must be considered as unexplained." So behind the scenes, they're saying, well, it can't be Venus.
I wonder why the government, I'm happy it's happening, but like, I do wonder why the government allows things like that to be declassified.
I know.
And then they
don't know.
And then after the fact, they're like, oh no, not an alien. It's like, you literally handed us this paperwork and now you're telling us that we're still wrong. For them to give us information like that where they're like, it's clearly not, we absolutely lied in public documentation. And then for things that haven't been declassified yet, but like everyone knows, like it's a little shady.
Yeah.
For them to still say like, oh, you're being irrational, or oh, like that's a crazy thought.
They're just gaslighting us.
It's like, we literally have a bunch of stories you just declassified that make it feel like this really could be a reason, but okay.
It's weird. And that's why, like, when the Pentagon released all that information last year, people were like, holy shit, like they're admitting we're not crazy. Like we're not all nut jobs.
But then they still do with things
it.
that haven't been declassified yet. I just don't know why they allow it to be declassified. I don't know, like, is there like a statute of limitations or something?
I feel like there has to be, because I feel like if they were just like withholding a bunch of documentation and we didn't know, which I'm sure they are anyway. So I don't know. You're right.
Yeah,
they probably could pull it off if they really wanted to, and we couldn't do anything about it. But
for all we know, there's like one like mega alien that they totally know about that happened in the 40s, and that part they didn't declassify. I don't know, it's weird where I'm like, I can't believe they like just so bluntly let us know.
I wonder
so much later.
I wonder if they were very carefully waiting to release information, like maybe there was like a timing reason. I think there was also some speculation. I remember listening to a podcast about it. There was some speculation that they released it like during, I forget what was going on that week, but something like really wild was happening, and it was almost like they slipped it in like Friday afternoon, like to bury it in under other headlines, like it was weirdly released at like a Friday at like 5 p.m. or something is what weird. I remember hearing. Yeah.
See, I would have thought the opposite, where like, big political things are happening right now. Let's give them something else to pay attention to.
No, yeah, they wanted this to be not apparent. According to these theories that I heard, but that they allegedly wanted this to just kind of fly under the radar, so to speak, to not draw too much attention. So didn't quite work because people are still talking about it.
Right.
But yeah, who knows? Maybe they just want the public's help. I don't know. Like maybe they're like, oh, well.
I'm sure they don't want my help, but okay.
I didn't say your help, to be
maybe
clear.
They want someone's help. I like how I took that as the government needs me.
Yeah. I'm not Uncle Samming you here. It's not quite what I'm doing, but maybe you have so much to offer.
You're right. You're right.
So this document goes on to explain that the unaided eye would not have been able to see Venus from Mantell's location. They hadn't, like, astrophysicists say it just wouldn't have been possible to see Venus, and it wouldn't have been moving in that way. And they also said another planet the only other planet within range, which was Jupiter, would have also been impossible to spot, so it couldn't have been a planet. As far as the weather balloon theory, according to Franklin, Kentucky publication, The Franklin Favorite, quote, in Tennessee, the callers were reporting a bright bulb-shaped object that was supposedly a weather balloon, although not one single National Weather Bureau office could confirm a balloon launch within the immediate days prior to the sightings.
Also, let's remember that this weather balloon was told to us by Thomas Mantell or whatever that like there were people in there.
Yeah,
so, like,
right.
I have not forgotten that.
Yeah, there's parts of it that definitely do not add up.
Yeah.
So witness statements from that day also make it seem even more likely that there's more to this story than just a balloon. So there was this air traffic controller named Alex A. Boudreau, and on Wednesday, this is his witness statement. Sorry, Blaze is going up the stairs. He's going to shut the door. It's going to be loud.
That sounded like, Christine, I have been telling you for a long time that your house is fucking haunted. But like when you have doors that make sounds like that, you don't get to tell me I'm wrong. Because that was the creepiest door I've ever heard.
Right. Well, when you hear a door like that, then you're like, any noise, you're like, oh, it was probably just like a creak in the house, It's easy to excuse it.
There are two different camps of people.
I know.
And you and I are in the two different camps for sure.
The delusional one who refuses to accept anything scary.
If I were ever staying in your house and I heard that door make that sound, I'd be like, you're out of your fucking mind if you think I'm going to stay here. Not even a little bit.
I hope we caught that on camera because that was quite a...
I heard it, so I think someone's heard it. That was just like, you might as well have just like had a ghost wailing in the back.
It was just Blaze going back to work. I think.
Uh-oh.
I know. So here is Alex Boudreau's air traffic controller's statement. Okay. On Wednesday, January 7th, between 1915 and 1930, there appeared... 1915? Oh, that's the time. Like, God. 7:15, 7:30. I'm like, 19... Well, that's a 15-year difference. Okay.
We have definitely time traveled.
Wow. Okay. On Wednesday, January 7th, between 1915 and 1930, there appeared in the sky a bright glowing object which I could not identify. At first, I assumed it to be a star, but the sky being overcast, I knew definitely that it was not a star nor an aircraft because the only aircraft flying in the local area was landing at the time. It was not an aircraft flare nor a balloon because it appeared to be enormous in size. I then observed it through binoculars. It appeared to be cone-shaped, blunt on top, and tapering off toward the bottom. It was going from a bright white to an amber color with a small streak trailing behind. It was at a distance between 5 and 7 miles from the control tower at an altitude of approximately 2,000 to 3,000 feet, bobbing up and down and moving in a south-southwesterly direction at a speed exceeding 500 miles per hour. Also, the wind at the time was blowing from east to west, and if it had been a balloon or lighter than aircraft, it would have drifted in the direction the wind was blowing. So that's an interesting point. There was no sound or unusual noise. Its performance was very unusual, and the light seemed to fade out at times. Just before it disappeared beyond the horizon, the light changed to a sort of red color. He said, I've engaged in aviation as an air traffic control tower operator and a private pilot for a period of 5 years, and thus far in all my experience, I have never encountered an optical illusion or any physical defect that would disqualify my possessions of such ratings.
Wow.
So he's like, don't question me.
Yeah, he's like, I didn't come here to play around.
Not here to play around.
Also, I do wonder what the actual speed of a weather balloon is.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Because it said like, oh, it's exceeding 500 miles.
That's what I thought.
I'm like, do weather balloons fucking go faster than that?
Because it's like, oh, it's bobbing up and down. I'm like, okay, I could see that being a balloon. And then it's like 500 miles per hour. And I'm like, do they go that fast? I don't know.
You know who the unsung hero of being able to crack alien abduction stories is probably like weather balloon experts.
They're like, no, don't blame us again.
They're probably like, that makes no sense at all. And that's all I need to hear to know that it was not a weather balloon.
He's like bobbing up and down inside the weather balloon. He's like, it's me, the expert, looking at my little window. Okay, so another witness was PFC Stanley Oliver, who was on duty at the control tower at Fort Knox when the sighting occurred. He saw what was described as an unidentified object, supposedly 250 to 300 feet in diameter over Mansville, Kentucky, and to him, it resembled an ice cream cone topped with red.
See, That man was just hungry.
His lunch break was
Yeah.
delayed, and he was really cranky about it. Yeah.
He's like, I could see things in the clouds. They're talking to me.
To be fair, the other guy also described it as a cone shape.
Yeah, that's true.
With red light. So interesting description. And then the other, so this sighting was in Mansville, Kentucky, and the other one was in Columbus, Ohio, which is like 2 hours north. So this is quite a range here. And then there were more sightings in Tennessee, which is south. So several witnesses described this. So here's some things that I've found interesting that kind of, I read a bunch of the witness statements that matched up. So several witnesses described the color as amber, which I don't know if, to me, that sounds very specific. Like they didn't just say red; they said like an amber color, which I thought was
it also
specific.
feels like that doesn't help their case because I feel like a lot of people or a lot of like government people could use amber as an explanation for like fire coming out of a rocket or something.
Yeah, true.
I mean, I know one's saying that there was a rocket there, but I feel like that's fire enough color that they could say like, oh, it's a flare, or
Right.
it was a hot air balloon and it has fire pumped through it, and so I don't know.
Yeah, it was just weird to me that it was so specific. It wasn't just like, oh, a reddish brown color. It was like amber. I don't know. Maybe that's just
fair.
a term people use, but I have no idea.
I would have loved to see them say like it was hot pink and purple and then see what the government has to say
And then
about
they're
that.
like, you mean amber. Oh, I meant amber. Sorry.
Exactly.
Nice try. Another weird similarity between witness statements that I read is that there was no sound coming from it, which I feel like I hear about UFOs sometimes, which is very creepy. And then that the craft was round with a cone shape behind it. So also kind of an interesting similarity between a bunch of different witnesses.
Yeah, I feel like the cone thing happens a lot. And I have also heard, I mean, I feel like I've heard different things with UFOs. Like sometimes there's like mechanical whirring or like, but then there's other times where it's just like eerily silent, where like
the weird silence freaks me out. Yeah.
it's like this massive contraption is ahead of me and making no sound.
No
like,
noise.
yeah, that's
Ugh.
super creepy. Not into it.
Yeah, I agree. According to private pilot Albert R. Pickering, who also witnessed the craft, it exhibited motions like that of an elevator, climbing and descending vertically.
Oh, that's odd. But it's a perfect description though, because I totally know I know how to envision that.
Which is interesting because the other guy said it was kind of bobbing up and down. Yeah. So I don't know. And I feel like that's another thing that you've covered some stories where the craft seem to like move in a way that our aircraft do not move, like in really strange patterns back and forth or like up and down.
Feel like I covered that with like the Tic Tac incident or something.
That's the one I was thinking of.
Where like it was like it could
almost, like go back and forth or something.
Yeah,
there was, like,
it was going
weird.
like a bunch of crazy directions, and it's like, okay, no plane does that.
It didn't make sense, right? So ultimately, the easiest answer is that this was just a classified weather balloon project, and some people just go with that, even though, according to me, the expert, not every piece of the puzzle fits into that theory, in my opinion. That being said, if that is the case, I guess if it is like an actual classified weather balloon project for some reason, I guess it makes sense that Mantell had never seen anything like it and was
that's true
following it. But I don't know, it does make me sad too that like for the family that it's almost like they're being gaslit too, like, oh no, he was just following a balloon. It's like, wait,
I wonder how insidious the gaslighting goes. Like maybe people are telling each other different things because they truly believe it, because they don't know. Yeah, I don't know,
it's hard to say. And like I know I said the grandsons who are, grown adults now were on this episode, and like it was very emotional because they went to the scene of the crash. And so like whether it's an alien or not, like their grandfather was killed in this event, and they said it. Oh, I got goose came again because it was really sad. They said like this guy had served on D-Day and now he was home during peacetime and he crashed and died at 25 years old. Like he had gotten through the war and then only to die here. Yeah. And now, people were saying it was just a balloon, which maybe it was, which is also, is equally as tragic, whatever happened. But I find it very suspicious.
Yeah.
So either way, it's one of the many UFO stories that's now getting a kind of a fresh look because more and more information is coming out from the Pentagon revealing that they don't actually have the answers that they claim they had. And so if you watch Alien Endgame, there's more stories on there. You can watch I don't know, more details about this one, it's coming out May 20th on Discovery Plus, and I'm excited to hear what people think because it really freaked me out. I'm going to be honest with you. The episode really scared me. So, the end.
Yay! You did good. Oh, Christine.
I was looking for the right one.
I mean, they both serve the same purpose. You have weirdly nailed it with the buttons.
It's my talk show. Welcome.
I don't even know what mine do.
They do the same thing.
I know, but I can't hear mine.
Oh,
did you hear? Did you hear me just do that with mine?
Do it again. Oh yeah.
What is that? What was that sound?
Do 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 do. That's the alien one.
Oh, hey. Well, you know what? I did it right then.
Honestly,
as far as I'm concerned,
it fit the vibe. Well, I want to apologize again. I know you're not happy with me for stealing a paranormal topic, and I apologize.
It gives me time to come up with something on my end.
Okay,
you gave me an open door to be reckless. Is what you just did.
I literally closed my eyes and said, "You do your worst." But I will say too. I remember last week I brought up the time you covered Villisca Axe Murder House, and
no, you're right. I
was very sad that I didn't get to cover that one. So
you're right.
Maybe we're even, but no, you go be reckless, okay?
Maybe we're even. I got to figure out. I'll figure it out.
I'm sorry.
No. You've given me an opportunity to be too creative, and now my brain is flooding with possibilities here.
It was also like such a sleepless week that I was like, I don't know if I can do a gruesome murder right now. I feel like, and then I watched this alien show and was fucking terrified, so I don't think it helped. But
well, you know what? It's like I've always thought like, oh, if I were to cover a true crime, which one would I cover? And somehow I still don't have an answer. So I'm like, damn, now my time's really come, and I don't know what I'm gonna do.
TikTok, baby.
I know. Well, you did a great job, Kristen. Good job telling your alien story.
Thank you for letting me do that. Promise it's the last one until Jesse works on another alien show. No, I'm just kidding. Next time I'll send you that.
Until you just want to do another alien story, maybe. I don't know.
Decide to say fuck it and do it again.
Until you just decide that you're the paranormal side and I'm the true crime side.
Honestly, we might just do it one day and be like, why not? But
just do a little flipperoo.
Anyway,
well,
that's all I've
what
got
about?
For you.
And you know what next week is?
Yes, I do. It's a special. Imagine if I did this to you on your birthday.
Well, I was gonna say, is this my last? This is my last episode in my 20s.
Yep.
Oh,
sorry, I fucked it up.
Hey, wow. You know what? There's a lot of emotions going on right now. That we're fine.
You're going out with a bang.
It's just like how the government tries to slip things in on Friday at 5
p.m.
Yeah,
exactly. Wait, that's a good point.
You slipped this alien story in at the Friday 5 p.m. of my 20s.
I said, oops.
I'm already having
TGIF.
Such a crisis about the rest of my life.
No, your 30s are great, I promise. It's like so much less, I feel like, you can just move on, like clean slate, you know? Just look at it as like a new chapter.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
I have a lot to process. I don't know. It's too late. I'm already in my head about it, so we're just all going to have to roll with the punches, unfortunately.
And Linda's going to have a really great time with you next week when she comes.
By the time I'm like 33, maybe I'll be over it. So until then, you're going to have to deal with it.
Are you kidding me? I have 3 more years of this shit, and then I'm almost 40, and you're going to have to... Oh, I can't.
I'll exchange it over once you're turning 40. You're allowed to have that for yourself.
I don't want to.
Well, but I'll take it. I'll keep complaining. I have no problem with that. Well, I'll see y'all in my 30s then, folks.
When Emma's wizened and gray.
We'll see you on the other side. And
bye. Oh, that's
bye.
Bye. We
drink.